All right. Good morning and welcome to this video. So here in this video, I'm going to teach you how to create a responsive footer section using HTML, CSS, and JavaScript. So the first thing I'm going to do is to create a folder on my desktop. That's my project folder. So here I'm just going to go here and right click on my desktop here from my mouse, and then I'll go to new and then click on folder. So here I'm going to name this folder footer, then hit enter. So now this is my IDL, but like my coding editor. So I use Visual Studio Code. So it depends on the ID, the editor you're using. So quickly, let me go straight to the Visual Studio Code down here. I've already launched it down here. So the next thing I'm going to do is to set up the project. So I will just click on this first icon here and then click on open folder. Then quickly I will click on desktop, then search for the folder I just created, footer. This is it. So I click on this and then select folder. So I hold on for a while. So now good, I have the folder now inside my project. This is it, footer. So let me close this agent build for now. So the first thing I'm going to do is to create three text files that will be able to enable me do the job, write my code. So quickly I will click on this first one, and then I will say this is footer.html. I'm using three programs for this. So first one is HTML, second one is footer.css for styling, and then last one is footer.js, which is JavaScript. So what I'm gonna do now is I already have some few things I want to do, but I'm not gonna go into that. So let's just go straight to what we have to do. So here I will click on this first one, which is footer.html. Then I hold shift on my keyboard and tap one. That will make me have an exclamation mark here. Then I will hit enter. So that is for this. Quickly, here I'm going to title this place in the document here. I'm going to title it footer. Then under this title, I can just have some. Let me leave this. Let me do it here. Let me link the CSS. So you have to link the CSS to the JavaScript to the HTML so that everything will work while you are styling. And also need to link the JavaScript to the HTML. So first I will link the CSS. So link to link rel, hit enter. So here I will just say footer because that's the CSS dot, this is CSS. Now for the JavaScript, you see that the CSS is always linked in the heading tag where the heading opens and where the heading closes. It has to be inside the heading tag, in between the two, head here and head here. So for the JavaScript is always linked inside the body. You see from the body opens and the body closes. So in between, I'll just say script and then src, which is the source. The source is footer.js. So now we've linked both the CSS and the JavaScript into the HTML. So let's go ahead and start. So here I will say footer. So this footer a class size footer. Then I'm going to say div dot footer container. So for this footer container, I'm going to also comment here quickly, and I will say column 1. For column 1, I'm going to have brand and about. The brand, I need to correct this. So now quickly, div dot footer column, then also I will have brand info. So here I will have an anchor tag. Let me close this. Inside the anchor tag, I'm just going to leave this an arch inside there for now. Then I will add a class. The class for this will be footer logo, and then the footer logo is going to be Apex, while I also have a span. Now the next one is let me add a paragraph tag, a P. Then the class for this is going to be footer this. So for this, I will just comment building modding experience with cutting edge architecture, clean So this will be for the paragraph. Then I will come down here. So now let's quickly create the social links. So for the social links, I will just say div dot social links. Then I will have a So I'm gonna just copy this. So for the second one, I'm gonna have GitHub. The last one, I'm gonna have Twitter. So let's save this and go to our project folder and see if we actually have what we just did there. So this is the project folder. So as you can see that we have everything here. So let's go ahead. Now the next thing I'm gonna do here is I will also comment again, and this time I'm going to say column 2. So for column 2, I'm going to name this one accordion length 1, and then I start div dot the button class is going to be So we're done with the button. Now I'm going to go straight to add a UL, ordered list. So for the ordered list, the class for this will be footer link. So let's do an li list items. Inside the list items, I'm also going to have an anchor tag. Then I will now have first one is web development. So let me just copy this li list from here and let me bring it here because I need about 4 of them. So if the first one is web development, the second one can be UI UX design. So let's just say UI slash UX design. Then the next one can be e-commerce. So name the second one e-commerce. And lastly, I can have SEO optimization for the next link. SEO optimization. So quickly, let's come down a bit. Now I'm going to create the link 3. So for here, let me comment again and use this. So here I will say column 3. For the column 3, I'm going to use accordion link 2. So for this, div dot footer column. This will be also have a button here, and the class for this one is going to be trigger also. Expanded. So now I will have UL class again. I'll just name this also footer links. So inside this UL, I'm also gonna have an li like before, an anchor tag. Then here I will have about us. Then I'll copy this also from here. Let me highlight this, bring it down here and paste again and again. So the first one is about, the second one is going to be our careers. The third one is going to be latest news. The last one is going to be contact support. Now, I will just move a little bit down here, and this time I'm going to just say this is for the number 4. So here I will say column 4. So this is for interactive newsletter. So for this, I'm going to say div does footer column. Then I will also have news letter box inside of this. Now for that, I will add an H4. The H4 will say stay updated. Then I will also have a paragraph, and the paragraph will say subscribe to our news for technical articles and design insight. So that is all for this. Then I will also have form. So let me add a form to this. Take out this action and use a class. So form class is newsletter form. Then the ID is also newsletter form. So now this is where we are going to stop for this video. So now this is how far we've gone for this video. So now let's save it and go to the browser again and refresh. And now you see we have all those links we just created. So thank you for watching this video. Stay updated for the part 2. Goodbye.